Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Casca and I love all things arts and crafts. In today's video, we're going to be making an Easter bunny. Now, I was going to do something digital art based for this video, but unfortunately due to some technical difficulties, that's going to have to be put off until my next video. While I was trying to think of something to do for this video though, I remembered about a month and a half ago I was in the range and I spotted this. £2.99, couldn't pass that up. I like collecting little bits and bobs that I find really cheap in the range because I just think it's something fun that I can do on a rainy day and maybe do a video out of it. And since it's currently Easter, this seemed really fitting. It's literally an Easter bunny. It says that it's suitable for children aged 8+, so theoretically it shouldn't be too difficult. I have, however, had experience with things like this before that say that they're for children, and they have been a massive pain in the butt to actually put together. I'm going to go and grab some supplies and then we'll get cracking. Okay, so let's get this open. Right, okay, so it looks like some bits are already cut out, which is good. Okay, so what have we got? Right, so I'm guessing this is the little details, the paws, and then, yeah, I don't think there's going to be any scissors involved in this at all. Yeah, literally everything is cut out already, which is good, means I don't need any scissors. So we've got them and we've got a little tiny, teeny weeny plastic needle. Some white thread, some black thread and a ribbon. Let's have a look at the instructions. Okay, so that seems really simple. So I am going to get cracking. I am going to be enlisting the help of this. I got it in a crochet kit. It's this one because I was finding that I was struggling with the just regular crochet needles that you can just buy in the shops because my hands were cramping up. This one's got a nice big fat handle. Yeah, and it happened to come with these little shears as well, which are surprisingly sharp. So I've been using them for lots of things. Okay, so the first bit it wants us to do the ears. Okay, that's not actually cut out very well. I was thinking I was going to avoid having little tiny bits of fluff everywhere, but I guess not. We have ears. From the get-go, this is definitely something that a kid would need help with. Like even with like the little safety needle and stuff. Because the instructions are so basic that I wouldn't bet that a kid would know straight away just from these instructions that they need to sew it wrong sides out and then turn them inside out. That's something that's missing on the instructions that probably would have been handy. Okay, I can understand the point of having a needle that's not really going to cause anybody any harm. But this is really difficult. These are not going to be very good stitches at all. Place your bets in the comments at what point I'm going to give up and get the sewing machine out. Giving up. Looks much better, doesn't take half as long, so much more satisfying. Switch to proper scissors as well, because there's no point in making life even more difficult for myself. Right, so this one is saying that it wants 2 arms and then these bits, and you put these little felt bits on, but it doesn't actually tell you how much seam allowance or anything in the instructions. It's just got a picture of them being sewn together, so I'm gonna have to try and work that out myself. Not very much seam allowance at all. I'd say that's maybe 3 millimeters of seam allowance. So we'll see how far we get with that. Okay, so next step looks like it's putting the feet together. So you do the 2 halves and then put these bits on the bottom. Right, I've decided I'm going to save sewing these bits to the ends of the feet until last, because I am going to need to do that by hand. It's going to be a lot easier to just wait until I've done everything that I'm doing on the sewing machine and then switch over to hand sewing. So next is going to be the body, I think. Head. Okay, so we've got a head. Okay, so I think we're finally onto the body now. So it looks like it's just these bits. Yeah. So these are the parts for the body, and then there's a bit for the tail. Okay, that's admittedly quite adorable. That's legit like that. Moment of truth. When I turn this inside out, well, right side out, will the legs be in the right place? Yay! You You know what, they're a little bit wonky, but it's okay. Right, it didn't come with any stuffing, but luckily I still had a load left over from when I made the penguin for my mum, so I can get some use out of that. Now, I realised that his legs aren't stuffed. I have done that on purpose because I want them to be floppy. And I'm guessing the tail gets stuffed and then put on like that. Like a drawstring, that's the only way I can think of. I'm not even sure if this is how they wanted the tail to be put on, because if you look at the picture, it's just got it like that and it just says sew it. It doesn't actually tell you how to make it into like a little bobtail. Right, now we just attach the arms like that and the head on top. Right, I'm going to tack the arms on, and then this came with some black thread for making a little nose and some eyes with, but I have actually got some proper eyes and stuff, so I'm going to use them. His little legs are so crooked. It's okay. It's okay. Right. I did make sure to leave a little tiny gap when I was sewing that to make my life a little bit easier. Right, he's got a nose, and I might have to cut some little holes for the eyes. We shall see. Now, the tricky part, getting them even on each side. Hey, that's not too bad. Right, time to stuff. Final stage is to, well, second to last stage is to sew the head onto the body. Right, and now for the last step. It came with this ribbon. And here he is. After all the trouble that I went through to make him, he is actually really, really adorable. I did give up very early on using that horrible, look at this thing. It's so bendy and it's really, really bad, and I know it's for kids to use, so it can't be really sharp, but it could barely get through the fabric, and I can imagine an actual 8-year-old trying to make this thing and getting so frustrated and just ending up giving up. I think if you're going to design something that's for kids to get them into crafts, get them to sewing, then putting barriers in their way and making it really hard, it could end up putting them off. I think the best strategy, in my personal opinion, would be to go with like a metal embroidery needle, something that's sturdy, you'd be able to push it through fabric, and it's not going to be as sharp as, say, one of these kind of sewing needles, which obviously you wouldn't really want a little kid to be using. Other things, these legs. You know when you see a YouTube video of, say, a little rescued puppy and their legs kind of spread out to the sides and they can't really walk very well, and they have to have like a little band around their legs to teach them to bring the legs in. Now, I've sewn toys before. I can put legs on toys, no problem. I think where this ended up being so bad is because the bottom of this is completely curved, so the only way to actually sew them on is at an angle, so they're spread out. This would be okay if it was going to kind of permanently, although this ended up being a little bit twisty, like if it was going to permanently live sat like that, then it wouldn't be too bad. But as soon as you let the legs go, yeah. But you know what, I don't care. My legs aren't exactly straight either, so peas in a pod. But yeah, I do think he's adorable. I do really think he's adorable. He's so soft, so soft. The fabric was a massive pain to work with. There is fluff everywhere, and I mean everywhere. It is a good job. Today is hoovering day. It's great. It's great as a plushie and it feels good, but it's so hard to sew. Like my cotton kept getting tangled up in it and I had to pick bits of it out, and yeah, it was murder. I might have to actually look up the best way to sew that fabric if I'm ever going to use it again. Overall, I am quite pleased with him. Like, he's definitely going to live on the shelf, just sat like that, and nobody ever has to see his legs. If you enjoyed this video, then giving it a like would be very much appreciated. I'm always open to your suggestions and constructive criticism, so anything that you think I could do differently, anything you'd like to see, just let me know in the comments. If you'd like to see more of me struggling to make things and doing various arty and sewing projects, then why not subscribe? I do my very best to upload a new video every 2 weeks. Thanks for watching. Bye!